day look in 10 minutes, especially for those working ladies out there who always complain that they just don't have enough time to do their makeup. So I'm going to show you that you can do it in just 10 minutes. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to apply a foundation on Miss Ashley. So I'm going to dab some color on her face. Now our foundation does come with a cute little spatula, as you can see, and this allows for you to just dab it all over. She looks kind of funny, but this is really easy to blend in. So I'm going to take our foundation brush and I'm going to blend her foundation. The foundation brush is great. Does blend it pretty even. I know some of us have had the bad habit of actually using our fingers, which, you know, if it works great for you, go right ahead. I just have always felt that it does leave you looking a little streaky. So I found that the foundation brush has worked best in giving me that even blend of color. So we're going to apply that, work that in. And there's really no rhyme or reason on how you should work in your foundation side to side, up and down. Doesn't matter. As long as you blend it in and get it to look pretty even all the way around. So we have worked in that foundation for her. One thing I do make sure is that I work under the chin area and jawline. That way I make sure that I don't have a line that shows where my foundation stops. Alright, so we worked that in. My next step is going to be the concealer. I think that sometimes we all have quite a few blemishes that we need to conceal. So I am using our concealer, and I'm using a concealer brush, and I'm kind of blending that in, which you can also do the same. Alright, so we kind of blended that in. Now I'm going to use an eye and lip primer, and I'm using the same foundation, the concealer brush. I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'm applying the eye and lip primer on the eyelid. This will help your shadow kind of stay put all day, and also will help your shadow not to crease, which I know, especially right now with the warm weather. Actually, if you're in Oklahoma, really, really hot weather, the last thing you want to look is like your shadow is just melting. So this will actually help keep it in place. So we work that in. Alright, so my next step is our eyeshadow. I'm going to use on her the two lightest colors on my eyeshadow palette. You do have some darker ones which are really, really nice for evening looks, which I'll do another tutorial for that. So I'm going to use my two lightest. I'm going to use the medium on her lid and the lightest on her brow bone. So we're going to work that in for her. We're using our oval eyeshadow brush. And I'm just going to dab that in, kind of work it, tap it in. That way I'm pushing in the pigment into the lid. When you tend to go back and forth, as far as this way, you actually are taking more shadow off than you're actually getting on. So I always try to dab it in, push it in actually. Alright, so I do kind of all the way up to the crease area with the same color. And remember, for a day look, you don't have to necessarily follow the 3 eyeshadow rule, which is usually medium on the lid, darker on the crease, and lighter on the brow bone. You can use just 2 colors. Makeup rules are meant to be broken, so definitely have fun with it. And here I'm going to kind of highlight my brow bone with the lighter color. I'll bring it in just a little. Work that in. And do the same thing here. I'm sorry, I am left-handed, and sometimes I want to but I'm standing to the side so you all can see it. Normally it's not this hard for me because I am working back and forth from one side to the other. So we're just going to do that. Alright, so the next step is going to be our liner. We're using a dark brown stone color. We're using a nice little angled liner brush. Sometimes in tutorials you'll see that they'll do the whole dabbing method back and forth. We don't have time for that. So I always start middle of the lid to the end corners. Why do I do that? Because sometimes you tend to apply too much pressure on the actual brush and sometimes have a tendency to apply too much in one certain area. So since normally our liner tends to be thicker towards the end corners, I'm going to step on this side, it's easy to just start from middle. So even if you apply too much pressure, too much color, it's easy for you to work it out and then come from front to middle and do very light strokes, as so. Alright, so now you see we have the liner on. Next step is going to be our mascara. So for this I'm going to have her open her eyes and we're going to put a little bit of mascara on the top, a little bit on the bottom. Look up for me. Alright, now move over to the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing. Alright, so I did get a little bit of the mascara on the bottom, real easy. Work with the same concealer brush and kind of work that out. Alright, so we have that done. Next up, I am going to use a little bit of mineral powder to kind of seal in the foundation. Brush that on. We have a little bit. Alright, so we have the mineral and then a little bit of blush. Yes, ladies, you still have some time for blush. Alright, here we're using a paparazzi color, which is really, really pretty. Ashley naturally has some red undertones, so I try to stay away from pinks. So something with an orange-like color for your cheeks would be great for those dealing with some red undertones. Alright, and to finish, we're going to put a little bit of lip gloss. We're going to use Embrace. Bring your lips together, pat them. And one more, because we cannot step out the door without our brows. This is going to be a need piece of cosmetics. Your brows. You always look most finished when your brows are done. So we're going to use our brow palette. This is actually Sandy Blonde is the color. And I always start from front to end. And I'm dipping into the powder as well as the gel, which actually does hold the color in place and the brows. Here we are. We kind of brush it up to the side. All our hair textures are different, so sometimes you have to work it in to your hair type. So this completes our day